Robyn and I'm from Queens, New York. In 1996, my mother died of a car accident. I had no parental figure really around because my father went into like a depression and he was never home and he was always out drinking. We had invited guys over and like have dress up parties, and that's where I discovered my sexuality. People in my family would obviously talk a lot of things about us, like, oh, we're faggots and this and that. So my grandmother was definitely not one to have it, being that her daughter died and she wanted to be that close parental figure. So she definitely didn't take that lying down. She would have arguments with my auntie and their whole family about how, she should leave us alone and we're just kids and blah, blah, blah. Because of all those things, she was telling my uncles that how make sure that we like girls and we have girlfriends. It made me feel like bad inside, like, if I were to come out to her or say anything about these feelings, it wouldn't have been accepted. After I graduated high school and I went through like figuring out who I am, at the time, when I graduated, I was thinking I was a gay male, so that's how I identified and that's how I lived my life. About 2 years later, I went back to Florida to visit my family with my grandmother and my auntie and stuff. They all live over there. So I went to visit them, and it was more like me being myself now. I had like a side shave and I was dressing in tighter clothing. At that time, it was like Rihanna had the side shave and all these people were like wearing it. So it was like, oh, she's like, oh, you're in trend, wearing the tight clothes. So I didn't really come out to her. I just kind of just lived my life and was like, this is who I am. But they could clearly see something going on. So when I came back from the trip, it was a couple months later, I was dealing with these things emotionally inside me that I didn't understand. Since I was younger, I always had a feeling of like, I'm not a guy. I felt like a girl. And one of the things that cemented that in my brain was I saw a documentary on a trans woman getting her bottom surgery because I didn't know something like that was possible. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what I want. That's me. I did personal research on it to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Why am I having anxiety? Why am I having depression? When I went to the doctor or the therapist, they just kind of confirmed it to me. She just made sure I was not crazy and make sure this is what I really wanted to do. And then within the week, I started seeing my doctor and starting my hormones. And that was the best decision in my life. This year, 2019, my auntie was having a big 40th birthday and she invited my brother and I. And I was very hesitant about going because I knew if I went, I couldn't be something I'm not. I had to go in there and be who I truly am. The day before I was gonna leave for my trip, my friend, she contacted me and we were like hanging out, having a slice of pizza. And she was like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna wear? She was looking at me. She's like, you're not gonna get your nails done and stuff. I'm like, no, that's like too much for me. She was like, no, you're not going that way. You're gonna go and be who you are and not be this little basic bitch. So I was like, you know what? You're paying for my nails? Sure. So we went and she got my nails done, this really bright pink and sparkles and everything. I arrived to Florida and I tried my best to like hide my nails, like putting them in my pocket, whatever I had to do to still be a little low key. The real test came when it was the day of the party, which was the next day after we arrived. And yeah, I started putting on my makeup and I got dressed in this cute little pink romper. I started getting the feelings of like, oh my God, I'm really doing this. And I couldn't believe this was happening. So I changed into some basic jeans and a t-shirt and I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this party. But then one of my cousins, she was like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing that for? It doesn't look cute. It's not who you are. So I changed my outfit And I went into the party very not so confident, but I kind of stood to myself and was like helping out, like making drinks and stuff, because the party was happening outside and I was inside. So then my grandmother walks in the door and she's like, "What are you doing in here?" And she just looks at me up and down. I'm like, "Oh, I'm just helping making drinks." She's like, "Come outside, meet these some of her friends that I've known since I was younger, and they haven't seen me." So I'm like, I'll be there. You know, I'm helping to make these drinks or whatever, trying to prolong it as much as I can. And then she just like went outside, not a big deal. At one point, I had my cousin give me her jacket so I could like cover myself up, but then it was Florida, so it's mad hot. So I was like, fuck this jacket. My grandmother walks back in to the kitchen area with her friend that she wanted me to like see and meet again. So I saw the friend and she's like, you know, giving me a hug and everything. I'm like, "Yeah, hello, you know, I've changed a lot since the last time we met." Her friend was like, "You look very beautiful. You look just like your mother. And it doesn't matter how you are now." After my grandmother's friend just accepted me that in that way and just told me some positive things, my grandmother and I didn't really speak about my transition or anything like that. It was just an unspoken thing, like, this is who you are and we're just gonna accept you, and there's nothing we could do but love you. Even at the party, one of the guys were like, "Oh, is this your granddaughter?" And she even said yes. So that was a very proud moment, just like smiling like, "Yes, I'm your granddaughter now." So we're pretty good now, you know. I definitely feel better now that she knows how I am. So we could FaceTime and I don't have to worry about scrambling to take my makeup off and doing my hair different. I'm so glad now that she's in a space where she could actually want to learn more, and I'm there to take her through that journey and like show her that, you know, it's okay to be a little different, you know, and stand out. Like there's many LGBT kids who are, you know, kicked out of their house and not accepted by their family, and that's really, I've heard those stories and they're not so ideal. And so when I think about what I went through my transition, it makes me kind of appreciate my life more, that I've had people who just respect who I am. As long as you respect me as a person, that's all I care.